Football Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Sal Guerrero. With me, as always, is Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Hess, former Director of Football Operations Dan Cobb, and the Sledge Kyle Stroll is out tonight, but we are making up for it with a very special cast. Former head football coach of Youngstown State, current Iowa State defensive coordinator John Haycock, and we are going to definitely get to him, get some questions in. If you're in the YouTube chat, get some questions in for him you may have. But before we start, as always, follow us on Instagram, Whitetown Penguin Podcast. Please give us a like, a subscribe, or a 5-star review anywhere you get your podcast. And as always, we are on YouTube Live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. We are going to recap the North Dakota game from last week, get you ready for Iowa State. I'm sorry, you got Iowa State here. Illinois State. Get ready for Illinois State this Saturday. But before we do all that, of course, we are going to talk to Coach Haycock. But to give him a formal introduction for those of you who do not know Coach Haycock, just a brief update on who this man is. He is one of the greatest defensive minds in the game today. I am saying that both biasedly and unbiasedly. He is from the Youngstown regional area. Before coming to Youngstown State, he made stops at Toledo, Michigan, and Army before joining Youngstown State as an assistant under head coach, the Godfather, Coach Tressel. Coach Haycock was around for 3 of our 4 national championships, winning a ship with the Penguins in 91, 93, and 94. After spending a brief time over at Indiana with the Hoosiers, he returned to Youngstown State to be our next head coach, replacing the Godfather, Coach Tressel, and he became our head coach from 01 to 09, totaling 16 years on the sideline at Youngstown State. That's actually one more than Coach Tressel did. And that is also when he made, in my opinion, his most successful job as a coach, because what he did was he brought the 4 co-hosts of this very show together. He brought Dan on as operations in 07. He brought me onto his staff as a student coach in 2008. And then he went through the blizzard snow of Dayton with Brian Wright, I believe, to recruit Kurt Hess. And he, of course, brought Kyle Searle onto the team as well. So he is the rhyme and reason why we all know each other and why this podcast exists. After that, he made a couple more stops. He went to Kent State. He had Kent State a game away from the Orange Bowl. Those are words that may not ever be spoken again. And then he later went to Toledo, where he met up and was the defensive coordinator with under Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell and Coach Haycock later went to Iowa State, which, if you know anything about college football, I don't know if Iowa State was much before Matt Campbell and Coach Haycock arrived. They went there in 2016. They have bowled every year since 2017. And Coach Haycock has been up for the Broyles Award 4 times since he's been at Iowa State. And for those of you who don't know, that is the award for the best assistant coach in the country. Woo! Coach, all that, I tried to sum it up as little as I could, but I mean, you've been around the block. Just real quick, a minute, not related to football, just update those on life and how family is outside of football today for you.
Yeah, we're settled in. I appreciate all that, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on, first of all. Our crew's all still here. My son works, Jace works on staff with us. He's the director of analytics. My daughter is a registered nurse at the surgery center here just outside of town a little bit. She's got married this summer, and we've been here 10 years. So it's the longest we've been at one place at any one singular time. So 10 years for coaches, about 100 dog years. It's been pretty cool experience, but everybody here is doing well. Obviously a long way from Ohio, but we do have some guys on our team, so we always talk some of the Ohio talk.
Love it. Curdy, rapid fire.
Yeah, Coach, I got some rapid fire questions for you. Thank you for coming on. Before I start with the rapid fire, I just have to say you hit us really hard in college football. I don't know if you remember the story or not, but I know Cyril would appreciate me sharing this. Coach John Patrick was our strength and conditioning coordinator kind of that first year. And for some reason, we had like this 20 to 30-minute warm-up. It seemed like it was so long. And those first couple practices, I remember us freshman class, we were just so winded. We were like, is this what college football is all about? And so we would go back to the dorms and talk about that. And then the one practice came, I don't know if it was after Missouri State or what. And high school coaches, you think that you've played football, and they're always like threatening, like, hey, we're going to start practice over. We're going to start practice over, coach. And you started us over because our warm-up was so crappy. And I remember we were like, this guy's a real head coach. We've never had a real head coach before. He stands by his word. And honestly, for the rest of our 4 or 5 years at Youngstown State, like, you helped us band together more than anybody. And I'll never forget that. And it wasn't just that practice. It was just being a part of your team for that whole year. And we kind of carried that for the next 5 years. So not just the warm up, but everything that kind of came with that, that freshman year, Carson Sharbaugh, Dom Rich, all those guys.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
I mean, we banded together and we took what you gave us that first year a long time. So we appreciate everything that you did for us. And honestly, like, you introduced us to college football in a way that we had never been introduced. And we still talk about those days all the time.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. I do have rapid fire questions and just kind of a little bit of a warm up and something kind of for social media. So just kind of answer quick as you can, off of your gut. If you want to elaborate, feel free to, but don't feel like you have to elaborate on anything if it's too quick. So first one, we'll start off easy. Defensive coordinator. If you had the opportunity, would you stop the run or stop the pass?
The run.
Run. Better practice period, in your opinion, inside run or 7-on-7?
Inside run.
We know what he's stopping. That's why he's one of the best in the country, right? What is your pre-practice fuel?
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. Toughest place to play in the Big 12?
Iowa State.
Offensive coordinator you respect the most?
Taylor Mauser.
Taylor Mauser where? Sorry, guys. I should know this.
Iowa State.
Iowa State. Awesome. Perfect. Best football movie?
Remember the Titans.
Titans. Best friendship you have with a college coach?
Steve Dish. Steve and I started together in 1985 at West Liberty State College. And we have become nothing. He's all on the sidelines. He was on the sidelines. Comes to games, comes out here every spring. Steve was an FBI, went to Bethany College, was an FBI agent, worked out of Pittsburgh area there in child crimes for about the last 15 years or so.
Wow.
He's still over there. You might run into him passing through the airport. But he and I go way back. The friendship we built there, we made no money. We are still tight to this day.
Awesome. Pretty amazing. All right, Chris Inglis or Danny Inglis, the son?
Oh, come on.
Feel free
Danny
to pass.
Inglis, the son. Come on.
Did you say Danny? Sorry, I cut you off.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Best pizza in Youngstown?
Oh, man, that puts me on the spot. I can't do that. They're all really good, and I wish I had some. We had some. My wife and I talk about it all the time. We wish we had some Youngstown pizza in Ames, Iowa. So if anybody wants to start a franchise, come on out.
let's bring Wedgwood out to Ames.
Amen. Bellaria, Wedgwood, Uptown, anything, Upton, whatever. It doesn't bring it, all of it.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Do you guys have any rapid fires? Or I'll send it over to DK.
I think we're good. I don't have any rapid fires.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, you handled those answers that was beautiful. I mean, that was our best rapid fire response session there. So first of all, again, Coach, just to echo what Sal said, thanks for being here, as well as Kurt mentioned, and what you mean to us is incredible. And a real quick story before my question, real quick. Speaking of West Liberty, I was a freshman at Bethany College working in the bar there while I was going to college, and my other brothers had been there, and I met a coach that was at West Liberty State College, a named John Haycock. Everyone was talking about him. A year later, I transferred back home to YSU, and Coach's first year on the staff was 91, right, Coach?
Mm-hmm.
Your first year there, and
yep,
won the national championship. So, but the question, Coach, is a little bit, you spoke to us before we went on air, but tell us a little bit about Ames, Iowa, and how this fit with you and Coach Campbell. And every time we're watching an Iowa State game, there's a clip of you or they're talking about you, and your defense has always been incredible. But maybe is Ames, Iowa, that recruiting, that it's fit your niche and the scheme and everything you have? Maybe tell us a little bit about the place.
Yeah, Ames, Iowa is a college town, population of 70,000 when the students are here. It's about 30-some thousand in the summers, but a true college town. There are no pro sports in Iowa, so the only games in town would be, the smaller schools. Obviously, Iowa State, and Northern Iowa. So there is no pro sports whatsoever. So everybody on a Saturday is at those games. It's a very passionate area. Never in my wildest dreams ever did I think that I would be coaching football in the state of Iowa, let alone at Ames and Iowa State. But it's turned out to be a great fix. We played out here when we were at Toledo. We had played out here and thought it was a pretty cool venue. I mean, the tailgating, they had not had a lot of success, and we drove in that day, and I'm like, Coach, like, it was kind of one of the coolest things, that I had seen. And so Coach ended up taking the job from Toledo, asked me to come along, chose to do that. And we've been here 10 years now. It's a people place. It is the heartland. There are cornfields all around my house here, pretty much all around campus, those kind of things. So it's a unique place. It's not for everyone. The guys that we find to come here, recruit, we try to recruit within a 6-hour radius. Recruit a lot of kids from the state of Iowa. We had a huge walk-on program that's a little bit, tough right now with all the changes, but we probably have, of 125 kids, we probably have 50 from the state of Iowa on our team. And, we're a developmental program. We do it the old school way. We care about people, the kids. We have great nutrition staff, great strength staff, mental health. We have all the things that you can need. Just built a new $90 million facility for kids to eat in an academic center. It's connected right to our football offices, locker room, training room. So that's been a real advantage. And it's kind of one of them places that if you can get kids to come visit, they'll fall in love with it. And we've been blessed that way. But it's been a really cool thing. Very rewarding here. I've had lots of opportunities to leave. And really chose not to. The places, the people here, the things that we're doing here. And, I think one of the things for me, rewarding wise, watching our players have success has been kind of the coolest thing for me. I think anytime that you coach players and you watch them grow up through your program and, been here 4 or 5 years, and some of them shoot 6 and 7 now with COVID. But you watch them have success, and that means a lot, because in this place, really this school is 134, we've had football 134 years. And really for 133 years, they had never won 10 games, if you can imagine such a thing. So it's been really rewarding. We often, sit around, it's like not everybody could coach here. There's been a lot of people try to win 10 games, a lot of really tremendous coaches that have been through here. Nobody had been able to do it, and we were able to do it. And so it's been a lot of fun from that standpoint, very rewarding. Great to watch our players kind of break down barriers, to go to bowl games and win the Fiesta Bowl against Oregon and beat Miami last year, at the Pop-Tart Bowl. Like, there's been things here happen. We beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma with our 3rd string quarterback. We've just done some things here that have been, monumental, that have never, ever been done. And so that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, we all know you've and read about and hear about it when we're watching on TV, and they talk about John Haycock, the best defense coordinator in the country, and I'm sure you've had opportunities. So maybe is it a little bit like Beloit, Ohio, from where you grew up, a farm town, and that's kind of close to your heart?
You know what? I think it is from the standpoint, and I think I would be remiss. I think the whole state of Iowa, um, man, the people here are very much like back home. You know what they say is the truth. They carry your groceries out at the grocery store. Um, you know, there's just a little bit of just you know, feel good about this place. There's not a lot of chaos. You know, people's word is good. You could leave your garage door open for a week and everything would still be in there. It's really just a pretty cool place. And I often tell people here, it's very much like the community, the people that I grew up at West Branch, you know, the farm neighbors, you know, care about each other. Do you need something? Nobody ever asked for dollars or cents. It was just always taking care of everybody else. And I find that here. And yeah, it's been pretty cool, to be honest.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Thank you. Go ahead, Sal.
Are you good, Dan?
Yepper. Or
Okay.
are we? You want me to keep going, or we're
Yeah,
splitting questions? Okay.
No, you rattle them off.
Okay. Wow, I get to go again, Coach. So
I
you
appreciate
gotta,
it. Yeah.
you got to put up with me here a little while longer. So the next kind of question that we were thinking about is, and you alluded a little bit to it. So you and your family have been devoted to the game of football for your entire adult life. We spoke about Tresh and Jason Addy before we came on the air, but so from your brothers John and Jeff to you, your son Jace, who said's on staff with you. You have a nephew who's coaching here at Youngstown State. Speak a little bit about what the game of football, has meant to your family. And I mean, you've coached and encouraged young men all over the country, and we saw it firsthand. We're, as Sal said, we're a little biased. We watched you in action and the difference you have in young men's lives. So just give us the people listening a taste of what the Haycock family and how much that means to you and yours.
Well, I think my dad kind of was, back at West Branch. The stadium is still named after him.
Mm-hmm.
He basically, the school's consolidated and started that school in 1964. The big deal with the stadium was that, and I don't know the exact number of years, but both of my brothers, I think my middle brother, Jeff, who was at Muskingum, I think his senior year they played a game at West Branch. That West Branch never had its own football field, so they had to rent our home games for, I don't know, probably 10 years or so were played at Salem. And so my dad got a group of people, community people, went door to door, collected money, got different people to help them. They bought a kit, actually bought a stadium kit, got the community. Somebody dropped off this kit out in the parking lot. I can still remember it as a little kid. And, all the community built the stadium. And, they wanted to have, my dad always wanted to have their own home games or the players to play at their own stadium. So that's kind of how that all got started and really why my dad's name is on that stadium. But, growing up there, we are basically our whole family went to Muskingum College, got into education. My sister actually married a football coach who was she was, I think, working or in college or just gotten out. And there was a new coach, and Raj and she had met. And he was a high school coach up at Avon, was the head high school coach at Avon, coached at Bedford. She was a school teacher. And then they ended up moving to Florida, raised their kids at Manatee. They went on to work at Oviedo, both retired now, but both still live down there. So she married into a coach. Her sons both coached at one point in time in Florida. And my brothers and I just, we kind of got into the coaching thing. And I was telling a guy the other day, my dad was always proud of us, but my dad always thought we should live in West Branch. Like, in his mind, and I look back, I think he's probably was, I don't think probably, he was right. From the standpoint of he felt like we should live in a community and raise our kids in a community, and they should have a house and probably like you guys grew up, grow up and go to the same school every year. And he was always proud of us because we were out coaching in college, but I think in his own mind, as far as our families were concerned, he was always worried about, that we should be raising our kids in one community. And my brother Jeff did that. And my brother Jim, for the most part, he was 15 years at Ohio State. So his kids going through high school and college were basically in Columbus. He was with, I think with Coach Cooper 7 or 8 years, and with Tress 7 or 8 years, however that worked out, but was there 15. For example, my son Jace was in 3 high schools in 4 years. From the Youngstown to the Kent State to Purdue, to Toledo. Yeah, and so that part of it, but coaching has been great for us, for our families. Met a lot of people along the way that I would not trade experiences. My kids would tell you they would never trade their experiences. They have friends from the times we were in Kent. Some of their best friends are there. Some of their best friends were, Addie got married this summer. One of her friends, her family came from Purdue. We've just been blessed to meet a lot of really, really cool people along the way, from Youngstown to, even people at West Point, I still stay in contact with. It's just kind of I've just met so many good human beings along the way that, have helped me get where I'm at. And I'm appreciative of it. And, but it's kind of it's a cool profession. It's getting a little crazier, as you guys all know. But again, I don't know that I would trade it. But I also sometimes think, my dad may have been right, with my kids, but again, they would tell you like, no way, Jace was in 3 high schools. He thought it was the coolest thing ever, like 3 different football teams and new friends at every school. And he still stays in touch with all of them. And so does Addie. I mean, they have great friends from all those spots. And we do too, as a family. I mean, I haven't been back to Youngstown for a long time, but a lot of people there that I really care about. And, just all along the way, Kent State and every place we've stopped.
That's great. We can remember Jace, who was running around at practices and the games and the offices, and Addie as well, and obviously Tresh. So it's just, great to hear that's as a coach's son, and the guys on the show here all obviously grew up around it and spent years around it.
Right.
It's cool to hear that because, we saw firsthand what you did, which kind of leads me into my last question is, you taught us as we were there the years with you about being thankful and grateful. And Sal kind of mentioned it earlier, but it's really evident. I mean, you took a letter from a kid at Jesuit High School in Tampa, Florida in 2008 that wanted to just be a coach and was admired Youngstown. I guess you drove through a couple of snowstorms to get our Hall of Fame quarterback down in Dayton, Chaminade, Julienne, right, Kurt?
Yes, sir.
And
That's a fact. That is a fact. Snowy day that
It
day.
It was.
And then our other host, Kyle Searle, Cloverleaf, right? Is he a Cloverleaf guy? I think I remember that.
Yeah, right.
So, and then you took a shot on an old guy who just wanted to get out of the finance world and get back into football and that. And for some, these guys made sense. I'm not sure why you hired me, but you did. And but you brought us all together, and here we are in 2025, all these years later. And Sal's idea to have this show and bring us on, but it really is, you were the cause of all this, and we care deeply about you, and we just love. We're texting each other on game days. We look at Coach, and I think I've sent you a couple of pictures of you on the sidelines during the game. You probably think something's still wrong with me that I'm doing that, but it's a source of pride for us to see you doing that. And when as you said, Coach's years are 10, they're like dog years, right? 7 for every year you do it, it's 7. And so we just want to thank you. I know that we're all grateful for you bringing us together, giving us a chance back in 2007, 2008, and beyond that. We're doing this really because of John Haycock. So it's just so cool to have you on the show. And Coach, we just root like crazy for you, and we know you're going to do great things. And we gotta find a way to get out to Iowa for a little visit or something. And
we got good. It's worth your trip. Now we don't have Italian, but we got good barbecue.
Okay, well we can do some barbecue. Yeah, it's I got my MVR shirt on today, so
we got some spots. We got some spots. I wear my MVR shirt around just because. Everybody kind of looks at it like trying to figure out what it is. But we have great barbecue. But I would add too. It's been interesting. I turned 65 on Saturday and last Saturday, and I've been doing this 43 years. And I think the older you get, the more you realize is that and not just saying this, I think again, as you get a little older, you really realize, and I think, the Kurt Hesses and the Danny Kops and the Sows and Kyle Searles and, man, all the people, that just had a hand in really allowing you to be what you were. I mean, it's allowed me to get where I've gotten to. And I don't think I've ever forgotten it. I think that's probably why Coach Campbell and we both grew up kind of, high school coaches, kids, spent our time in the gyms on a Saturday, and I don't, played Division III football. I don't think we've ever forgotten, and I think that's what I enjoy about him most. No matter how many games we win or things that he gets opportunities to do or whatever, I think we're always still thankful and grateful for all the people along the way that allowed us to be us, and allowed us to learn and grow, because we weren't perfect. I certainly wasn't, but allowed us to learn and grow and hung in there with us. And I'm still thankful and grateful, and I appreciate what you guys do. And I think this is cool what you're doing. I think it's really a neat idea, and hopefully keep some interest in Youngstown and the people around there, and because they certainly deserve it.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate you. So I think it's over to Kurt or Sal. Who's
Yeah,
next?
I got it. Yeah, I'm actually, as you know, Coach, I am now in Big 12 country down the street from Tampa over in Orlando. So I'll have to catch you when you're over at UCF sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Question for you, going back to Youngstown State days, whether as an assistant or a head coach, what is the most memorable game you remember while your time at Youngstown State? And on the other side of it, which game is it one that you wish you could just forget or never happen?
Oh wow. Well, the first game probably was, that you remember the most. I don't. There's not really many games. I have one that really sticks in my brain. But one, winning the first national championship, coming home, landing that airplane at Youngstown, getting off the plane, the people that were there, what it meant to that town and that city. And those kids, like that will never, that picture coming off the plane walking through all those people will never ever, yeah, I'll have that vision forever. For my own self, I think our win at Western Kentucky to win the conference championship was really cool. I guess the one game that I still talk about probably in every defensive staff meeting every year, is the '92 championship game, at Marshall. We lost. There was about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. They took the ball, drove it down. We kind of played conservative. And since that moment, I refer to that every single week. We talk about 2 minute. I will never allow that to happen again. We're either going to die really fast or we're going to win really fast. But that's one game that kind of sticks because we had a really good football team, and they ended up marching down and kicking a field goal. And but that's probably the one game I remember that was kind of a negative. That I still use that lesson. I still, to this day, every week we talk about 2 minute defense and what are we going to do. My guys know now, man, if there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left or whatever, team with the ball last wins. And so that was a great learning lesson, and I've remembered it everywhere I've gone since then.
Yeah, I'll just if you don't mind me, my least memorable game has to be probably that trip we took out to Southern Utah when if you remember, you're giving
Oh,
us a butt chewing, and meanwhile the pizza man busted in the locker room saying, "Who orders some pizza? Who orders some?" He was in the wrong locker room, and I was just like, "Oh my god!"
I think it rained pretty hard, did it not?
It rained the whole time. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
and
rained
we
the whole
couldn't
time.
leave, right? I mean, was
No,
that
we had to stay there
had to stay
Saturday
over?
night and
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
film at the hotel and
yeah.
move out of
That's bad. That's a
Vegas.
bad deal.
That
Yeah,
was tough.
yeah.
Question I have going back to Iowa State from just as my perspective from Tampa. So from Tampa, every off season, as you know, and you mentioned already, your name always comes up for big defensive coordinator jobs. Matt Campbell's. I mean, I don't care if the Dallas Cowboy job's open. Matt Campbell's name comes up for a job every offseason. And every offseason, it seems you are very loyal to Matt Campbell. And Matt Campbell, vice versa. And both of y'all seem very loyal to the athletic director, Jamie Pollard. But again, that's just a fan sitting on the couch in Tampa. Is that fair to say? Is Jamie Pollard been great to y'all, and y'all? How's your relationship with Matt Campbell?
Oh, it's good. I think again, it goes back a little bit to, first of all, I think he deserves all of it. What we've done here is, I mean, nobody's ever been able to
Never
do
been
it. It's been
done. Yeah.
130. It's been 134 years that head coaches of all kinds have tried to come in here and change. Dan McCarney, who I have complete respect for, did a tremendous job, and I think allowed us. We've used a lot of what Coach Mack did here in the 2000s, and we've used Coach Mack a lot about how to do it, and he's been a great resource to Matt, I know, and to myself. But Coach Mack made some strides here. Like he had some teams here that were really, really, really good, and got some bowl games and some different things going on, and kind of showed that you could. Um, just couldn't you do it, more consistently maybe. But he showed us a way, and his teams, that there was a way to do it here, and so that was key. But I think first, the first thing I'd say, Sal, as you listen to it, I think the guy deserves it. And not because I work for him, but again, I'm probably in 2-minute drill. He's just getting started, so it doesn't benefit me one way or the other. But I think um, you know the thing that you find here is a little bit what I find. Like I think the one thing Jamie Pollard has allowed Matt to do is be the coach here. Doesn't meddle a lot. Doesn't, he comes to practice. I think he's there for Matt when he needs him. But he's not involved. I remember going to Purdue, and the first Sunday meeting with the team, the AD sitting next to me, eating breakfast, eating McDonald's out of a bag. And I like looked to my left, and I'm like, and Marcus Freeman was on the right. And I looked at him, and we just both kind of like, oh my gosh. And, Morgan Burke was the AD, and a tremendous guy. And I think has since passed, but a tremendous, but he was he was there all the time. And I think Jamie's allowed Matt to coach, and I think he's allowed us to coach, and giving them guardrails and all those things the way we want it done. Our president here, Wendy Winterstein, has been unbelievable. She will be retiring next year. She's an incredible lady. Worked here 40 some years. But I mean, you talk about leadership. She led through COVID, and probably really had no desire to be president at Iowa State. But was, I mean, as good as anybody I've been around in all my years at any place I've been. Very supportive, very firm about what was important, as the president. And I think the two of them have allowed Matt to be the coach. And I think, that's been probably the biggest key. They let us do our job, and, yet they're there to help.
Love that. Yeah, you were not around at Youngstown State when the Godfather Tressel was president. I'm sure she would have been second to the Godfather. But one more question from me, and I think you've answered most of this question already. The 1991 season was obviously huge at Youngstown State for many
Mm-hmm.
reasons. It got the dynasty going. So bringing it back to Youngstown State, and whether you want to talk about that 91 season or just any game in particular that you were like, man, this is the game that kicked off the dynasty run of the 90s. And just on that same 91 season, for our listeners to know, the captain was current athletic director Ron Strollo, and the GA on that staff was current head coach Doug
Mm-hmm.
Phillips. How were
Correct.
those guys
Yeah.
back then?
Not very good. I'm teasing. The game, let's go start with the beginning. I think the game, I think it was interesting. When we got there, all we heard about was the 1990, the playoff game, going undefeated. Some really great coaches on that staff, Mark D'Antonio, Jim Bowman, Stoopsy, Ken Knatzer, Herm Jackson. I mean, there were some really, really, really talented coaches there. And then at that point in time, some of those guys, Bowles and a group of guys, left. And I think there were probably 4 new coaches that came in 91 at that point. And so, we had heard all about the undefeated and all those kind of things. And it was kind of like, boy, you instantly walked into a little bit of pressure as an assistant coach. And long story short, we were 4-3 maybe when we went to Georgia Southern. And my memory's not real sharp there, but we had lost. We had an open date. And I remember for 2 weeks, it was the hardest practices that I think I've ever been a part of at any place in 43 years. We
Wow.
practiced for that game. I mean, I was young back then, 31 years old. I remember walking down. We practiced on the grass because we played on grass down there at Georgia Southern. And I remember, going down there. And again, we were kind of like, man, they had just been undefeated, and you just kind of felt it like, man, and that week of practice before Georgia Southern. I mean, I remember running cut block drills. We were going to get cut because back then you could cut with all the triple option.
I was going to
And
say, was that Paul Johnson's triple option?
yeah, it probably was Paul. Yeah.
Okay.
But I remember I got so like our guys were getting tired of cutting. So I started cutting our own player. Like I was doing the drills. And and I know like Schneid, I mean, we were so invested in winning that game. And I think that, we went down there and beat them. I think they had won 52 straight, maybe, I don't know, close to that at home. And we beat them. And yeah, that was the start of it. But I think it probably started in the year before in 90 with the undefeated team that we weren't a part of. And then those guys again, us all kind of getting on board and getting the ship righted, and then we won 8 straight or whatever it was. So yeah, I would say that week, I've never forgotten that week. I still tell guys about that open day week of pride. Like we have open week this week, and it's a lot different here than it was that day. Those days back then, a lot.
Yeah. Was Doug Phillips your GA, or was he on the offensive side?
Boy, I'm not sure. I think he was kind of on, back then we didn't have a lot. I'm guessing he probably did for both sides, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, I think there may have only been one GA or two GAs, an offense and a defense. But those guys did everything for everybody. You talk about, I mean, being a GA back then was a whole nother world. We have 4 or 5 of them in our office now. Back then, I mean, and they had to do everything. So, but those
Wow.
guys were great. Ronnie was a great captain. It wasn't going great early in the season. Those leaders handled themselves, and then again, you need everybody on board. And Doug was always a work hard guy. He was always in the office. I think that's what I appreciated about him as a young guy. And then we had a chance. He was out here for a year with us when we first started here at Iowa State.
Wow. I didn't realize that. Gertie.
Yeah, Coach, we'll go ahead and zoom forward a little bit. This hopefully helps your memory a little bit. But 2006 season, ever since I came to Youngstown State, always looked up to a guy named number 24, Tom Zetz. And with Coach Wright coaching in this game and spending a year in his offensive meeting rooms, learning how to play college quarterback with Coach Wright, I heard a lot about the James Madison game in 2006. Can you just tell us a little bit about what your memory was of that playoff game? And every atmosphere that we played under Wolf for the next 4 years was always compared, Ice Castle. Well, it wasn't James Madison playoff game in 2006, yeah. Right? So we heard that for 5 years. What was it like, that game, and what's your memory of that game?
Well, I think it was pretty close to being sold out. But I think you have to look at what all was going on, Kurt. I think, in 2005, we had gone, I think when I went back there in 2000, we played at Richmond. I think we did not get a home playoff game. We played at Richmond and lost, turned the ball over late in the game, lost that game. It was raining. We lost that game. Then coach the next year, I think, went on to Ohio State. And we had not been back to the playoffs since that point in time. 2005, kind of going back a little bit, 2005, we were co-champs of the league, and did not get a playoff berth. And probably the most difficult day of my career at Youngstown at any point in time was having to tell a group of kids that were co-champions of back then the Gateway Conference, at 8-3, you weren't getting into playoffs. We had probably 300 people upstairs in the Bartlow Club, and Man, it's a day I still talk to Kyle Smith. He comes out every now and then. He was here in the spring looking at our players and some of the draftable guys, and so I always get a chance to see Kyle. He's doing great stuff with the Falcons, and but we still talk about that day and what it was like. And he was one of the seniors on that team, so there was a lot built up to that, Kurt. And then it was the first opportunity that we had. We won the conference championship outright. Had a home playoff game, and they were very angry about not getting a home game. So it created a lot of buzz on both sides. And so, the Penguin faithful showed up. Penguin on a Stick was there and the whole crew. So, yeah, it was quite an environment, a game I'll never forget. As the head coach, it was everything that you would want. The place was packed to the gill. They had brought their band, and so that was wild. And then we won in a wild fashion. And yeah, Tommy Zetz had an incredible game, and we ended up winning and moving on.
It's amazing. Yeah. TZ would hit me up from time to time. And, that kind of speaks to the culture that you ran. He would message me back when Facebook was first coming out, He messaged me on Facebook, and we tried to carry on the tradition with the quarterbacks after me too. So definitely a guy I looked up for and was under your tutelage for a long time. So I appreciate that. But, kind of talking to that culture piece, that 1 year that we spent with you, it was all about, I think our motto that year was, will you be there? And, so that Free Willy Michael Jackson song still hits home for me. But I remember listening to those senior speeches from everybody, Michael Savage and, Lenny Wicks and those guys. I mean, big, strong, physical, fastest, most athletic specimens I've ever seen in my life are getting in front of guys crying and telling us their life story. And, with Wolf for 4 years as seniors, we brought that back. And so we did senior speeches our senior year as well. And I felt like we were more cohesive as a team that senior year than we ever were. So what are you guys doing now? Or do you still do stuff like that at Iowa State? And what's that impact have on the locker room?
The impact's the same, Kurt. People are human. And when you hear human sides of the guy that's lockering next to you that you never heard from, the tough guy that, I think anytime you add human emotion into a locker room and you break down barriers, I mean, I think you get to really know people. We still do that here. We started that a little bit with Coach Campbell. I kind of brought it to Toledo. We do it here, still senior speeches here. We actually had our president, as I talked to Dr. Winterstein. She's the best. I mean, she is an incredible lady. She did a winter speech for us
Nice.
A few weeks ago, the last open date. She came in and gave her senior speech. So we still do that with our players. We still do, the leadership council. We still do seniors. I meet with the seniors starting every January when we come back from school. I meet with them for about a 2-month period. Coach lets me do that, and I take them through different things. I can tell you that we have played Free Willy here.
Nice.
It has hit
Beautiful.
here. A couple years ago, the last senior game of our guys a couple years ago, really special class of guys, and they were the kind of ones that helped us get this whole thing going. But anything that helps build, the team and really just breaks walls down. And I think it's really what everybody is missing right now. I think we're all too busy talking and not enough people listening. And, I think when you get up there and you tell your story, there is no testimony without tests, and everybody's got scars. I mean, that's what you realize in locker rooms. Like, everybody's got a scar. They all got a story. They all got some things that were really good in their life, some things that weren't so good. And, but they all made it. They all made it to be seniors. And I think anytime you can do that, if I was running a business today, I'd do the same thing. I would, if I was running any level of business, there would be those talks. Sure. I would let people get up and share their stories, because I don't think we really know who people are until we know what their scars are.
No question. No question. Even to your point, as a assistant principal at a middle school now, if I got kids right now and I'm like, listen, man, you keep acting out in class, you're disrupting everybody. Sometimes I'll just sit them down to, what's going on in your life, man? Do you need help about something? Can we take a step back? Because I can talk to you about what's going on in the classroom, but there's probably something else. Do you want to talk about something else at the time? And that helps me reframe my conversations with kids too.
Yep, for sure, because everybody's in a battle. Like we're all in battles of all kinds. And again, I think it's what's happening to us in the big picture around like everybody's worried about themselves and not
Hmm.
listening to other people. And this game itself teaches everything that society doesn't. This game teaches team. This game teaches unselfish. This team means being the left tackle on kickoff return. And that's your only 4 plays of the game. And hopefully sometimes only one if you're on kickoff return
Yeah,
because that way they haven't scored. But the point being is that just I think I think those things for teams allow you to be a lot closer and I think it doesn't mean doesn't guarantee you wins. It just guarantees that you really understand who's lockering next to you and who's fighting the same fight you're fighting. And I think I think it's awesome, and I think what you're doing, if that's a great concept, at your
sure.
school, because I mean, kids don't, and not to get off the subject, but I just don't think kids show up in bad moods for no reason.
Right.
Why are you late? I used to always, man, even when I was the head coach, why are you late? Why are you late? You know what? We had a guy walk in a little bit late today, and you know what? Are you okay? That's the
Yeah.
first question. That's where I've grown. Like in the old days, I'd have probably been screaming, you're late. Well, there's something. What's really going on? Did
Yeah.
something really happen? Is something going on with you? And Coach Campbell and I both at the same time was like, exact same time. Like, are you okay? Like that's all that we really care
Yeah.
about. And yeah, you have to stop yourself sometimes, and I've grown a lot in that way. If there's anything I've changed, that's probably been the biggest thing.
Sure. Feels like that. I mean, that's probably very unique to Iowa State right now. I don't know if everybody's doing that, so that's great to
Yeah.
hear.
If I could interject real
Go
quick, I
ahead.
think it's pretty obvious right there for the people who are listening, or maybe for our younger viewers out there who haven't had a chance to spend time around our guest tonight, John Haycock. We all asked how are these things? What's going on in Ames? Wow, it's incredible. But I think that's a glimpse into it right there. That the man we know and the growth that he just spoke about and the way it is there is no surprise that when you got the president of the university giving a senior speech,
Yeah.
you,
She
you
was
got
awesome too.
yeah, you got some things going the right way, and it's just really cool to hear that from you, Coach. So sorry to interject, but
No, you're okay. It reminds me of I was fortunate enough to be on Coach Tressel's podcast as a guest, and I just found myself just saying more of the things, Coach Haycock, that you've taught me in life outside of football that I still use today in my life and in my business. I mean, things as simple as you can't hoot with the Owls and soar with the Eagles. You used to say all the time. I didn't know what it meant at the time, but now it's like I have to go to bed. It just the
I,
little things like that just really registered with me
Well,
today.
I
dude, even
remind
as a parent, like how many times are you like, listen, I got 17 things going on. I just need to catch one rabbit today because I know
One rabbit.
I'm gonna feel a lot better if I just catch one thing right now as a parent.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have those conversations pretty regular out here. The hoot with the owls. I have to remind our young coaches that, Sal.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll just tell, hey, Coach, just I remember Coach Haycock taught me this, and then he taught me anyway. Real quick before we wrap it up,
Yep.
Coach, I just this is a Youngstown State podcast, and we are playing number 9 Illinois State. So just I want to give a little Illinois State, Youngstown State trivia questions for you that it should be very easy for you. But question
Wow.
number 1,
I'm not very good at trivia.
if you don't ace some of these questions, trust me. I was born in 1988. Also in 1988, Illinois State hired a brand new head football coach. Who was that football coach?
Jim Haycock.
Correct. Number 2, Jim Haycock also took a risk by hiring the graduate assistant at Ohio State, giving him his first coaching job. He went on to coach the wide receivers for Illinois State under Coach Haycock. Who is that man?
Urban Meyer, I think.
Urban Meyer, correct. Back to 2006 when Kurt was talking about the James Madison game that was very eventful. We went on and won. We went to the next round and beat what team, which eventually led us to play Appalachian State in the semifinals?
Illinois State, and Denver Johnson was the coach. We played at our place again.
Wow. Right again.
Beat
And then
him, and beat
lastly,
him. Yeah, we beat him 2 times that season, which is not easy to do.
did we? And I didn't know that. And then
A
last,
little trivia for you, Sal.
well, I know you're shooting them back at me. And then last question, hopefully this is another easy one. Youngstown State arguably has the best running back room in the country as far as FCS goes. Coach Phillips went out and hired a new running back coach to Youngstown State. Who is the Youngstown State running back coach?
Justin Haycock.
There you go. The Haycocks are everywhere. I met someone just last week who saw my shirt and said they played for a Haycock at Muskegum, actually.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yep,
"Oh,
that's my middle brother. Yep.
okay." And I said, "Oh, I coach or I worked under a Haycock as well." So you guys are everywhere. Guys, y'all have anything? Well, first, Coach, any last words you want to say to Penguin Nation before signing off?
Yeah, again, I'm just thankful and grateful for our time there. We met lots of cool people, actually incredible people, not cool people, incredible people, all throughout Campfield, Greenford Christian Church, all the people that worked for us in the building there at the stadium. I'm very thankful and grateful. I would not be personally where I am without all of those people, and I'm not foolish enough to believe that. I know that I am here because of all of them, and they gave me opportunities to do my job and do what I did, and great memories, great people there, and wish Doug and my nephew and those guys a ton of success as they work down the road here. I know Coach Yerg, he coached on our conference for a while, was a great offensive coordinator. And so those guys they'll continue to get better. And, you got to get a ball every now and then to go your direction. And so I wish them nothing but success, but nothing but great memories from there. The people that I met there are really what I remember the most, and that's what's allowed me to be where I'm at.
Thank you. Kurt, Dan, any last words for Coach?
Go ahead, Cop.
I mean, there's not enough words to say thanks to Coach, and just hearing all the stories and some of the laughs and just the emotions of thinking back all those. Like I said, it was those are dog years for every year we spent there, but I wouldn't trade that for the world. I was blessed to be in that position for 7 years, 3 years with you, Coach, and just think the world of you, just like I did the first time I met you. And just so much praise to you and the way you do things. And we're honored to have you on the show. I mean, you're kind of legitimizing the show now, because when you put guys like me on here with young guys like Kurt and Sal and Kyle, they're phasing me out, Coach. I'm like Lee Corso. I think it's I got 2 shows left in me. So
maybe that's kind of how I am too. I'm like I said, I'm probably in 2-minute drill. These young guys around the office trying to figure out what's this old guy doing in here. So,
hey, I just want Corso. You're Nick Saban, all right? Come on.
Yeah, well, that's true. I just want I got to get out there and do some bug juice or something. Help you with something. Have me out there for a day, or let me hang out. So.
Bug juice has gone to a whole new level, but we still do bug juice, by the way.
I love it. See, that made the show.
I think it's got a little more nectar in it and all those kind of things, all the additives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Electrolytes and all that kind of stuff that they got going on now, but it's still bug juice to me.
There you go. Straight from Coach Schembeckler, right? Bug juice,
yes,
right?
Sir.
So, yep. Okay. Go ahead, Kurt.
No, man, I'm just appreciative, Coach. I mean, you've created this podcast and all the things that go along with it. So on behalf of myself and the podcast, and I know Kyle wishes he could be here today too, to give his sentiments, and I'm sure he would say it.
Hello, please.
We will. Yeah, he's definitely missing out, and we'll let him know that he's been thinking about you and vice versa, I'm sure. And we're always rooting for you. So
I appreciate it. We can take all the rooting we can get.
My neighbor's a Hawkeye, so him and I go back and forth now.
Well, just remind him we beat him 3 out of the last 4 years.
Yeah, I love that.
I love it,
Coach. I thank you for bringing me to Youngstown State. I'm forever grateful. Youngstown State was a huge part of my life, friends forever, as you could see. So I definitely thank you, but appreciate
Awesome.
you
Yeah,
giving the
appreciate
time.
you guys.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good luck, Coach.
Keep doing your thing, man. Proud of y'all.
Thank you.
We will. Thanks, Coach.
How cool was that, huh?
Yeah, let's give Coach. All right, he got out.
Yeah.
How do you follow that
was,
with anything?
Yeah,
that
cool.
was great. Yeah, apologize to the YouTube chat and the Instagram question. If it was the summertime in the off season, you know, I'd continue to pick his brain like we did Tressel for 2 hours, but I mean, he doesn't have many nights off in the season, so I wanted to really let him. Honestly, went a little longer than I wanted to have him on with us, given he's in the middle of the season. But I'm going to run through this quick, if you guys don't mind.
Let's do it quick, dude.
All right, let's do it quick. Unfortunately, as you guys know, North Dakota beat Youngstown State last week. It was, I mean, to say the least, you guys saw the game went. Did not start very well. The Penguins went 3 and out with a punt. They answer with a touchdown. Then we punt. Then they answer with a touchdown in the first quarter at 14-0. Things are not looking good. Finally, second quarter, the Penguins answer with a touchdown on an 8-play drive, 14-7. But then they answer right back, making it 21-7. And then again, they will score, they being North Dakota, to make it 28-7 at the end of the half. Third quarter comes, things kind of settle down for the Penguins. Defense does their thing. Offense gets going. We get a field goal, and then that falls with a 4-play, 86-yard touchdown to end the quarter, 17-28. Penguins look like they have a little bit of light going into the fourth quarter, but unfortunately, 16-play, 72 yards for 8 minutes is the drive that North Dakota will pull off to take a 35-17 lead to really put the icing on the cake to beat the Penguins 35-17. Just real quick, Curdy, what'd you think about the game?
Yeah, you just can't dig yourself into a hole on the road pretty much against the top 10 FCS opponent, 28-7 at half. You can't get outgained on the ground by 120 yards, especially when we have one of the best rushers in all of FCS in Bo Brungard. And like my wife and I always say as we're watching games with our friends Will and Liz, big third down here, big third down. We were 3 of 14 on third down. Can't do it.
DK.
Yeah, I mean, they 30-20'd us, you know, the 30-20 rule. They put that into effect. And a quick observation, I thought we kind of looked flat when we came out. Is it the travel? I mean, all year long, we've kind of come out on fire, and we just didn't look that way. We were texting. I thought we just looked unsettled in all, you know, offense and defense. But, you know, it's just disappointing to give up 28 points in the first half. I will say this, and the last thing I'll say about the game, I think we're the better team. I know that sounds crazy. I think we have the better quarterback. I think we have better running backs. I think we have better wide receivers. And you just can't give up 28 points in the first half and expect to win a game like that. I mean, the comeback would have been monumental. So it's just disappointing that I do believe we're the better football team, because I think if we played that team 3 more times, I think we would probably win those 3 games. That's my opinion, but it's just heartbreaking that we just didn't play worth a dang in the first half. And that's
right.
You know,
coming out flat on the road is tough, but I will go against you, Dan. I think that is the number 2 team in the conference. I think they're clearly better than South Dakota State. Do y'all disagree with that?
I disagree with that. I think South Dakota State wouldn't lose to North Dakota. Just my opinion. If they played them 5 times, they'd go 5-0. In my opinion, I think South Dakota State's a better football team. Maybe we were just that jacked up, or obviously we're to play them, and we could have won that game. And we go again. I don't know. Maybe it's the travel. Maybe it was a hell of a trip. Maybe, I don't know. But we just came out, and man, my compliment is I think we're the better football team. The truth, you know.
North Dakota's last 3 games, November 8th, they are playing North Dakota State. Then they have a break with Murray State, and then they play South Dakota State. So if they're, to your point, Dan, if you're right or I'm right, I think we will see when they clash against the Big Two at the end of the year, that South Dakota State at the end of the year looms big as far as are you getting a bye, or you may not know that might be their bubble game. So we'll see how North Dakota plays out.
We might not have known this at the beginning of the season, but we have South Dakota State, North Dakota State, Illinois State, all on our schedule. And this week, aren't they top 10 teams? So you're talking 40% of the best teams in the FCS, top 10 teams. We play them.
No doubt. To your point, I saw the schedule and I was like, oh, well, North Dakota is the easy game in that lineup. I was like, oh, that'll be the game we have a break before we play the other two. But yeah.
Well, I mean, Kurt just brought up a great point. We're losing the good football teams. I don't mean this as a disrespect.
We don't have a bad loss.
Yeah, to North Dakota. I personally, and I'm not just being, the homer on this. I do believe that Youngstown State has the talent and has the players that we're better than North Dakota. I just feel that way. I felt that way going into the game. I felt we were going to win this game. It was I picked us to win this game earlier in the year or before the season. And man, I don't know. I don't have an explanation as to why we just looked flat. Am I wrong in that? Like watching the game, we just came out and we looked flat. And this isn't, I'm not here to debate the coaching thing because we had explosive plays. Our quarterback was the better quarterback, but I don't know if people understand. We never played at North Dakota. They weren't in the conference when we were there. But maybe this travel, I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe the flight was delayed. We got in late. We ate late. Who knows? Maybe the pregame meal, the hotel screwed everything up. I don't know. But that's the shame of it because, I just think we're the better football team. So,
well, and when the talent level is similar, and we know this about our conference, when the talent level is similar and you're on the road, the margin for error is that much smaller.
There you go.
You just can't, you can't afford to lose possessions. You can't afford to come out flat like they did.
Yep.
Whether they did or didn't, whether they felt like they were prepped to play, it was 28-7. So call it like it is. Like the facts are 28-7. We've dug ourselves a hole, and the margin for error in this conference against a team with equal talent or maybe a little less talent on the road, like you can't afford that.
Yeah, you're right. You nailed it, Kirk. Call it the way it is. You can't give up 28 points in the first half and only score 7. I mean, this isn't rocket science. Anyone listening to the show they're probably chiming in going, what the hell is Cop talking about? I mean, obviously, but we're more than capable of scoring more than 7 points. And we looked flat, and maybe it was just, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, but I stand by my thing. I think we're the better team.
Well, let's recap how the rest of the Valley did last week. Dan, as I told you at the beginning of the show, you and I tied. We both got our FBS games correct on the cover. I had USF, you had Texas A&M, and Cheryl was a few games behind us. South Dakota State at Indiana State. South Dakota at Indiana State. South Dakota won but could not cover at 19-14. You and I at South Dakota State. South Dakota State won 31-3, but that was not enough to cover the points. Southern Illinois at Fargo, North Dakota State. North Dakota State wins and covers 45-17. Your Youngstown State Penguins at North Dakota. Both they lost and did not cover the points, as we talked about. North Dakota wins 35-17 convincingly. And then Illinois State, who we play this weekend, had a little struggles at Murray State. They did win 46-32. Which was a 14-point win, but the spread was 15 points, so they did not cover the points. But speaking of Illinois State, you're now number 25, Youngstown State. Yes, we are ranked with a 3-3 record. Only ones ranked without a winning record. We are at number 9, Illinois State, the Redbirds, Saturday, October 18th, 3 p.m. on ESPN+. Just to run down a little bit of fun facts about Illinois State. They've been playing ball since 1887, 138 years. they were actually known as the Illinois State Fighting Teachers before changing to the Redbirds in 1923. As you heard in our interview, just some fun facts. They had head coach Jim Haycock, brother of John Haycock, from 88 to 95. On that staff, his assistant was Urban Meyer, as we all know, won a national championship with both the Florida Gators and Ohio State Buckeyes. Their current head coach, Brock Spack's been there 17 seasons. He is the longest tenured coach in the conference. And even crazier, he has won over 60% of his games while he's been there in 17 years. That's crazy. He's taken the Redbirds to the national championship before. Back in 2014, he lost to North Dakota State in a very tight game. He lost 27-29. This campus has 22,000 students, so it is almost double the size of Youngstown State. Looking up famous alums, just to rattle names off, just to throw something out here, I had no idea about Illinois State, but just so you guys know, if you want to be a football coach one day, you should go to Youngstown State. If you want to be an actor, actress, screenwriter, you want to be a singer, you want to be in Hollywood, apparently you have to go to Illinois State, because if you look up their alumni, there is a ton of famous actors that came out of this college, and they're all connected. So there's a list of 100 if you Google it. And I was like, let me just pick out the names that I know and recognize that I like. One is Gary, if I'm saying his name right, Sunise. That doesn't ring a bell to me at all. But if I
it's Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, come on,
Sal.
Sal.
As Lieutenant Dan, you know
it's Gary Sinise. Gary Sinise.
He is an active booster and supporter of the Redbirds. So he donates a ton of money as Lieutenant Dan is a Redbird. Other key people real quick. Jan Lynch, current host of The Weakest Link. She's also been on Glee, 40-year-old version, and Ricky Bobby. While she was on Ricky Bobby is another Redbird that she ran into. It's like a network. Gary Cole, he was the boss in the movie Office Space. He was in Ricky Bobby, and he was also in Pineapple Express. He was the mobster drug dealer that was, trying to chase down, what's his name? Seth, not Seth. Who was the actor?
Jonah Hill?
Jonah Hill's buddy. It'll come to me. But in that same movie is one of my favorite actors, who's also an Illinois State Redbird, is Craig Robinson. For those of you who don't know, he is the hilarious actor, the African-American gentleman in Hot Tub Time Machine. He was the hitman in Pineapple Express. He's in the
Daryl from The Office.
He's in The Office. This Is the End. He's been in a million things. One of the best comical movie actors of our generation. And then lastly, just to throw a senior out there, Michelle Williams from Destiny Child, Beyonce's initial band. She was one of the singers in that band, also a Redbird. And if you look up, they have it ranked, and I didn't even name off like the top 5. Lieutenant Dan's like number 2, but there's screenwriters and names of people that may or may not ring a bell to you, but those are just a few. So back to football. How's this team done? So far, they've only lost a couple games. They were at Oklahoma, 35-3. Okay. Then they got things together. Morehead State, 45-13. Had a close win, but peeled away when they were at Eastern Illinois. Went to double overtime versus North Alabama, and eventually won there. They have been to Fargo already in a game that was very tight until the Bison pulled away to win 33-16. And as I mentioned, they had a little bit of struggles at Murray State, but they did eventually win. This is the number 9 team. They're number 9 for a reason. But looking at these scores in a couple of the games, you could easily convince me otherwise. Kurt, what do you think?
Yeah, I just don't think there's a ton to say. I mean, they have a great coach who's very comfortable in the league. Tommy Rittenhouse is a proven quarterback in the league. He's thrown for nearly 5,000 yards. He's a senior. that shows you that they can win close games with that double overtime win. Murray State was probably not a fun trip for them, but they found a way to win. That's it. They need to do. Their best players, probably the receiver, number 2, Sopkowitz, Daniel. I mean, he's got nearly 3,000 yards. He's probably going to go over 1,000 yards again this year. Ty Niecamp's possibly their best player. He's the linebacker, 46 from last year. We know him really well. He knows the conference. He knows how to play. They've added a couple transfers, I think, in the defensive secondary. There's no time. There's no rest for the wicked here, guys. Like, we need to figure out what happened last week, and we need to be ready to go this week. They're going to be able to do both. They're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to pass the ball. They're probably going to play pretty good defense. If we turn the ball over, we don't have a shot against them. They're playing at home. They have firepower. They can do big plays. The one spot I think that there's their weakness is their defensive secondary. So if we can find a way to hit some big plays in the passing game, we might be able to get ahead early, maybe put some pressure on them, finish with a big road win. My heart is telling me that we're going to win this game. My brain is telling me Illinois State wins 31-27. That's where I'm at right now. If we're doing picks, but my heart says that we can come back from what happened last week, but we are traveling on the road again. We haven't been a great road team, and this team has some seasoned vets, so we better be on our game.
DK.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt dove into a lot of things there that, are evident about them. I think the big key, 2 keys, which no surprise here, can we corral Sopkowitz, if I'm pronouncing his last name right? Do we have a guy that can, I don't necessarily know match up one-on-one. The guy's a great receiver. It's kind of like their max. I mean, this guy's a heck of a receiver. We got to find a way, whether we bracket him or, some way to stop him so he can't have 200 yards receiving. And then how do we get to this quarterback, Rittenhouse? He's not a bow type guy that he's going to kill you with his feet. So we've got to be able to get some sacks, man. We need some pressure up front. After hearing Coach Haycock talk about the 91 season when they were 4-3 and they had to go win at Georgia Southern, had to go win, or they went from a team that was 10-0 or 11-0 the year before and doesn't make the playoffs. So I had us winning this game earlier in the year. I'm going to stand by it. It's going to be close. We've played there. You guys remember the years we lost those heartbreakers with little time left. There were games we won there close. This is must win because down the road, I mean, we got the Bison ahead. That's a whole nother level. We have got to win this game. I mean, right? We've got to win this game because because I felt this team was a playoff team beginning of the year, and I still feel that the talent is there and we can do it. I got us squeaking this one out 31-28 just by sheer force of our backs are against the wall, and we're still so dangerous on offense. If we can perform like we did on offense against like we did at South Dakota State, we're a tough team to beat. So,
yeah, the key to the game for me is, as we know, you got to come out swinging early. We can't do what we did at North Dakota. We got to be able to come out, swing early, and be ready to try to win the game. We know one thing about Coach Phillips is if he's within 2 scores in the fourth quarter, he's the guy that's going to come back and win the game. So this game is definitely Kyle Strill's Super Bowl. So if we win, I'm sure he's going to get on here and do the I told you so to me. So we'll see what happens. He thinks I'm an Illinois State homer, but Kurt, I'm with you, and Dan, you are right. If we lose this, the only cure to it is winning at Fargo and winning out. So if we drop this game, we would have to win out, including at number 1, North Dakota State, which is possible, but it's definitely a harder road to take. I prefer just winning this game. However, I actually have the Redbirds winning 28-24. I think we're going to be coming out, but probably flat. I don't see, unless they show me otherwise, I don't see why they wouldn't. I see us coming out flat and trying to make up for it in the fourth quarter and not have enough time on the clock to win the game. But you guys want to go into quick predictions?
Quick picks.
Let's do it. North Dakota State is at Indiana State, 1 p.m. North Dakota State is a 35.5 favorite. That is a lot of points. They're going to win, but they're not covering that.
Same for me. Indiana State's a tough road trip.
I agree. Outside of the dome.
South Dakota is at the Unidome, 2 p.m. South Dakota is an 8.5 point favorite. We all know what the Unidome can be. I have Northern Iowa covering, and I wouldn't be shocked if they win the game.
I'm also on board with that. I might take them money line. South Dakota's not impressed me so far this year.
I got to go the other route then. Give me the Coyotes.
Okay. Youngstown State at Illinois State, 3 p.m. The spread is Illinois State 2.5. Based on our score predictions, I could write Dan's name down for the Penguins, and Kurt and I are on the Redbirds. North Dakota at Southern Illinois, 3 p.m. North Dakota is a -2.5 favorite. I think North Dakota is the real deal. I think they're going to go in there and blow it out.
What was the spread here? 2.5?
2.5 for North
Yeah.
Dakota.
Give me the North Dakota.
Give me the Salukis.
Okay.
Outside game.
Lastly, South Dakota State at Murray State, 7 p.m. South Dakota State is a -37.5 favorite. I went back and forth on this because I think Murray State's starting to figure things out the way they played the Redbirds closely, but I just could not find myself to pick Murray State. So I'm picking the Jackrabbits to win and cover.
Give me the Racers with the points so that I can beat you by 1.
I'll say thank you. We got support.
I'm going to stick with the Jackrabbits here.
Okay. And lastly, Kurt, just before we lock things down, I know we didn't get to the John Haycock questions, but any comments from Instagram at all worth mentioning?
A ton of stuff for Coach Haycock. You know, Freddie Herdman with the "Hey Hoot, why you do it, man?"
Yeah,
I really wanted to throw that in there. I didn't find a place to do it. Karsten Marshall, former Iowa State linebacker, now with us at Youngstown State, giving Johnny Haycock the GOAT. Kyle Banna, loving to see Coach Haycock on there. DBYSU, favorite Haycockisms. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you are in trouble. Nothing good happens after 10. Yeah. Tell the people that you love them. And probably the best, hand the ball to the official, everybody. Hand the ball to the official.
Yes.
On the other side of things, a lot of good stuff coming from Haycock. We need his defensive philosophy for sure. But must win. We don't have a good win on our resume. We don't really have a bad loss, but we don't have a good win. Okay. I wish the SDSU, this is a big one here. I wish the SDSU game was a W. We would have had a little bit more space to lose that last game. We would have had some more space. We'd have had a signature win. We don't have that. That's what we're feeling like on Instagram right now. We're not feeling good. We need to be 8-4. Definitely was a winnable game last season. Didn't feel good. So pretty mediocre to negative comments coming from us from Instagram. And I think we're all kind of feeling that way right now too. And we're kind of all on edge thinking, hey, if we're going to turn this thing around, we got to do it right now.
A quick scores from the YouTube chat. Jason Chrome, 41-28, Youngstown State. And our boy Wolf has the Penguins also winning 38-35. Dan, any shout outs worth mentioning?
Yeah, we got to shout out Alvy and Tim, the equipment room. I don't know if you guys watched College Scoreboard on ESPN last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have our helmet, and the next thing you know, Matt Barr is slapping a helmet sticker on the red helmet with the Y, saying we finally got a Youngstown State helmet. So I'm thinking it was Tim and Alvy. You know,
which one do you think had the brain power to think about it?
I'm probably thinking it might have been. I'm not sure, but I can't answer.
One of the student assistant coaches.
Yeah, I still want some gear. If I say it wasn't them, I don't get any anyways. But
we love you, Alvy and Tim.
Yeah, we love those guys. So I'm going to say it was Alvy and Tim who thought of it, and so we've been on the Gruden gift list now. College Scoreboard. It was great to see the helmet up there on Joey Galloway and EJ Manuel. Everyone knew who Youngstown State was, so it was cool to see that. So. Yep. Shout out to those guys.
All right. You guys want to shut it down?
Lock it up.
Guys, again, for everyone listening, I apologize that we did not get to your questions for Coach Haycock as he's in the midst of trying to make a playoff push for the Iowa State Cyclones. But that was a great interview for us to have a legendary coach, Coach Haycock, on. We have a big game in Illinois State, as we talked about. Number 25 Youngstown State is at number 9 Illinois State this Saturday, 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus. But once again, we are the Youngstown Penguin Football Podcast. Please follow us on Instagram, Whitetown Penguin Podcast. We will be back next week on Wednesday, 8 p.m. on YouTube Live. As always, please give us a 5-star review, a subscribe, and comment any questions you may have for us. Tell a friend. It's always appreciated. Get the word out there. But again, we are the Youngstown Penguin Football Podcast. I'm Sal Guerrero. That's Kurt Hess. That's Dan Kopp. And as always, go Penguins.
Let's go Penguins.